Coach Kelly here, and today I always say that I have a very special guest, but today I have the unique honor of sharing the story with arguably my most successful client ever. In 13 years of working as a fitness professional and nutrition coach, Mohammed Syed has lost more weight. He showed more consistency with his training, both strength training and cardio with adherence to the nutrition plan that I built for him. He set the bar. It's a new standard with anyone that I've ever worked with. So, Mohammed, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, before you ask, or yeah, before you answer the $1 million question of why you reached out for help, um, share just share about your background. I mean, your overall health and fitness journey, and you can go back as far as you want. Just what led you to the day that you decided that you needed some help?
Sure. Yeah, grew up here in Dallas. Kind of went to all my schooling and college and everything, and kind of through my younger years, and I was always a bigger kid. Um, Sometimes, some ways I was positive, some ways I was negative, obviously, but there was no real education in our household, or in kind of in our community of how to eat right. The things that I know now just didn't exist. That knowledge wasn't transferred. And I kind of lived most of my life up to about like junior senior or senior year in high school being a bigger kid. And then I just started working out. I just got some bug to work out a lot, and I lost a lot of weight in senior year. And that really was like a really interesting time of my life too, of course. And that was my first kind of weight loss episode. But again, not having the knowledge of how to sustain it, it came back. And then my second weight loss episode was in when I was 24. Started working out really hard with my best friend, and lost a ton of weight. Massive, all good. A lot of good things happened to me in my life right after doing that. Uh, Added that back on. Did it again when I was 28. Lost bunch of weight, and then all of that came back. So basically, it was like this roller coaster journey of weight loss and gain. And we're talking 50, 60 pounds, not a 15 here, 15 there. So big amounts of stretching and coming back. And then COVID hit, and took had a pretty rough time, just like many other people did, but also had some big wins. And that kind of led me to the coming out of the other side, just uh, going through this kind of experience. I ended up jumping on more so the hedonic treadmill, and just kind of went on and did kind of went overboard on a lot of things. And that led me to this past August, where life just wasn't going the way I wanted. Professionally, it could be there was massive areas for improvement in different categories of life. And I had this gym membership with Lifetime that I didn't do anything with. And I was like, there, let me start with one area to try and fix instead of trying to tackle all these different things. And let's just see if I can get a win here, and let's see what happens, right? I have nothing to lose. And so I looked at my app, and lo and behold, there was a opportunity for a free consulting session, and I booked it. And I booked it with you, and I came in, and then we were off to the races right after that. So that's a little bit of my background, and this is my last and final time to ever be on this roller coaster. Now that I'm armed with the knowledge of how to maintain, I feel like a different person.
Dude, you were off the roller coaster. If I have anything to say about it, you were off the roller coaster. So, for my part, I'm off on Sundays and Mondays. Our membership department has the ability to book into our calendars, based on availability. And I always check my calendar when I come in on Tuesday mornings to see, has anything changed? And I see Muhammad's name Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. And if I remember correctly, the Wednesday morning was like a goal setting session.
Mhm.
And then the Thursday was a training session. That's the first time I've ever had two complimentary sessions by anybody. And I thought, did he do that? Because for y'all's benefit, with our membership at Lifetime, members do have the ability to get, now you can't abuse this. You can't do it on a weekly basis, but we as fitness professionals do offer complimentary sessions. And, but again, our concierge team, they have the ability to book into our calendars as well, especially with new members. So I didn't know if he did it on his own or if concierge. So I was intrigued with two sessions. And I still remember that first day that we met, and very quickly I realized that this was not, he was there to move. I mean, there was no really decision making. It was just a matter of he reached out for my help, and we got started. So the rest is history. So, um, what were you expecting? What was your mindset when you made the decision to book those two sessions with me?
Um, Really, I looked at like other parts of life where I've had a lot of success, whether that's business and professional areas or things of that sort, and I realized that basically in every one of those endeavors, I had some type of coach or some kind of mentor to help me see around corners, but also kind of help me see farther out into the landscape. And there's no reason I felt that there's no reason that this should be any different. Um, I clearly didn't know what I was doing, so I couldn't leave it up to pure willpower and massive amounts of my own research and this or that. It just seemed like a very inefficient way of trying to hit the goal. It was honestly just it felt like an excuse to spend one more day looking up a YouTube video or one more day trying to figure out a fitness, whatever. My thing was just I need accountability and I need someone to guide me through this journey. And let's just see kind of what happens. And every other times that I've done that in my life, lots of great things have come out of it. That was my mindset going into it.
So one of my, and I'm paraphrasing, but one of my favorite quotes from the late great Tom Landry, the essence of a good coach is the ability to get your players to accomplish more than they would ever accomplish on their own. Now, they may not like the process, but they like the outcome.
Right.
Um, but then another thought is that I hear that, in fact, I wrote a blog on it one time. I know what I should be doing, dot, 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 but
Mm,
insert excuse. So many people think that the challenge in today's world with when it comes to health and fitness is not a lack of information. We have the information of the world right there, largely for free. It's not a lack of information. It's the lack of, it is the lack of the emotional discipline to apply that information to your life. And also, again, there's something to be said for because there's so much conflicting information out there to have someone that's can cut through the crap
yeah, yeah,
and deliver just the information that you need.
right,
So a lot of people think that, oh, I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not. No, you really don't. Where you are and where you're seeking to get, it may be a chasm that's so massive, there's no way you're getting that without some help.
right.
And in this case, a coach. But I mean, there's coaches in all walks of life.
Yeah.
So what were you, excuse me, what kind of, I mean, I know what you shared when we first met as your goal, but on the inside, how confident were you that you could make a lot of progress?
Um, I'd be lying if I was like super confident in it. Like to be honest, like I this that was the biggest I've ever been in my entire life. And as I've gotten older, I've really I didn't realize how resilient the body really is. And I was just hoping for to get to even a fraction of what we've already accomplished. Um, and I think it was just one of those, I'll see it when I see it kind of moments for me. Um, but as we started working, really just in the first month, I saw the progress. And then it was not just the weight, it was, the fitment of clothing and the sleep and just different areas. And also like strength coming back. Like it all felt so empowering. Um, that at that point I realized like let's just see where this takes us and let's just go as hard as we can. I didn't imagine, where we'd be 5.5, 6 months later. Um, but my entire view, and we can get into more of this too, but my view of what's possible, I severely underestimated it going into it. So expectations weren't super high, but then as we started seeing results, of course, they went to the moon.
So, for audience's benefit, where were you with your weight when we started, and where were you? We weigh every Thursday morning. So, where were you and where are you now?
Yeah, so I came in, I weighed in at 323 pounds. I believe body fat percentage was 47%, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where we started. Um, where we are now is at 261.9. So 60, almost 61, 62 pounds down, 6 months. I forget the exact body fat percentage, but the beautiful thing is that the muscle mass has actually gone up and then the body fat has gone down. So we're still hitting some amazing highs in the gym as far as like weight in our strength training. So it's not that the weight just came off and now like I lost muscle mass either. So I mean it's actually the perfect way to do it. Very consistent, 2 to 3 pounds on average per week. And now it's just the equation is it's just a matter of time, right? Like that's all that we're waiting on. So amazing, amazing results.
I've never seen a client, and I've had several males lose in the 40-pound range and the female lose in the 40-pound range, but I've never seen as linear a drop as what Muhammad has shown. I mean, it's just been 1 to 3 pounds a week like clockwork. And his strength has gone the other direction. As the scale's gone down, his strength has gone through the roof. And not only your strength, your conditioning, because you actually,
Yeah,
and he scared me the first workout. He wears Apple Watch, right?
that's right. Yes.
And I'm looking at heart rate. And I mean, we did like two warm-up sets, and his heart rate was doing 100 and like
Yeah.
40, 50. And I thought, crap, I got to be careful with this guy. And his conditioning from then to now is just dramatically. But I will say, we train 3 days a week with weights, but he's doing cardio for 3 days a week, which I am. We did, uh, Lifetime calls it an active metabolic assessment. It's a VO2 max test, is what it is. And I'm a metabolic specialist. And we did that test way back when, and I built his cardio workouts. And then after 3 months, we did a retest and he improved. And so I built him new, harder cardio workouts, but he's
Yes.
just not skipped a beat. So now when we're doing our strength training sessions, he's able to train faster than, I mean, because his conditioning is just so much better. And it will continue to get better as you lose weight, as you continue to do your cardio. I mean, your VO2 max still has plenty of upward mobility,
Yeah.
plenty. So I'm proud
Yeah.
for you.
Thank you.
Share with me just whatever you want to say regarding the nutrition plan that I've given you. Has it been hard? Has it been easy? Has it somewhere in between? But just whatever you want to share.
Sure. Yeah. The nutrition plan was actually the other component of this, very, very important component of this the results that we've gotten. And to be honest, it was all in my head as far as how difficult it would actually be. But when put into practice, it was one of the easiest things that I've ever done. It has actually simplified my like planning for meals, and I've saved so much time not having to think about because to be honest, like when I was not eating terribly, I mean it was every day was twice a day or so. What am I eating? I have to go drive to get it because it's all I'm eating out like 100% of my meals. The money, the expense, the time, and all of that. When you add it all up, I mean it's tremendous inefficient way of doing things. So it was very, very simple. And what I've kind of done is found a few meals that just like it's the same ingredients, but meals that would just work for me that I just repeat over and over and over. So once I got the Kroger list built, right, and I could just go pick up the same things, uh, then it was just a matter of figuring out like what I like to eat and just repeating that over and over. So really, the meals are just I eat 5 times a day, uh, and two shakes with some of the supplements that I picked up as well. Um, And then as far as the actual like lunch and dinner, it's 8 ounces of potatoes as far as a starchy carb. That's just kind of the one I go with. Sometimes it's rice, whatnot. 6 ounces of cooked protein, and then about a cup of veggies. And that's just on rinse and repeat. I cook like twice a week. It is just in the fridge, easy peasy. So it's been great.
So I will say that I am a dietary agnostic, and that comes from my background through my training with precision nutrition. And my two main goals with a client are for them to get enough protein, because that's just mission critical, and then their overall energy intake for the day, whether they're trying to lose weight or gain weight. Those are first and foremost. Where they fall with fat and carbs depends on the individual. I mean, if I've got a marathoner, he's going to get to eat more fat than someone that sits at a desk all day and, barely moves. But it's dialed in per individual and their needs. Again, I'm not trying to pigeonhole anyone into a particular box when it comes to their nutrition. I mean, I have kind of some guidelines in my mind, but it still comes down to the individual. But with that, and you kind of you did good. I was going to ask you what you said.
Ah, yes.
But whereas Muhammad thrives on, and I'm the same way, eating largely the same things, on a daily, weekly basis. Please don't think that I am suggesting that my clients eat the same thing every day and never have any variety. That's just how he's wired. That's
Mm.
how I'm wired. I work with other clients that they have to have variety. Well, that's fine. I give you portion control, as I have. You can have whatever veggie you want. You can have whatever protein you want or whatever starchy carb, as long as you hit the portion that I suggest. So the variety thing is a very individual thing. And again, the ratio of carbs to fat, I'm telling you, there's no one diet that rules them all. There's not. You got to get enough protein, and you have to have your energy balance in place. After that, obviously the more whole food oriented, plan that you're following is going to be better for you. If you're leaning more on highly processed foods,
Right.
um, hey, and or just, eating out a lot in general, it's going to be a lot more expensive, and it's going to be a lot harder because the food that you buy at a restaurant is not the same as the food that you buy at the grocery store. The food at a restaurant is prepared in a way to make you come back and buy it again. And that's usually not in your best interest in terms of added sugar and fat. So, let's see. How is the weight that you've lost, the strength that you've gained, and your improved, just say, cardiovascular fitness, how have those three elements impacted your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say my mindset has completely changed for the better. Um, and I've become unbelievably optimistic about what's possible going forward. Uh, and I was generally an optimistic person, but nowhere near this level of optimism. I think it's just a matter of um, like seeing progress in one area of life is like in this case health has I've really realized like the pursuit of the goal. Like yes, I want to get to an X amount of weight, but it's the pursuit of the goal that has actually given me a tremendous amount of fulfillment. And that's started to kind of permeate its way to other areas of my life. So like it's helped me become a lot more decisive with what I'm doing at work and with the way that I interact with my team. And just generally speaking, like my mood is far better like than it used to be. I'm like, because of the optimism, it's kind of just naturally and organically coming out. So my relationships with other people seeing what I've done, and maybe I haven't seen them for 2 months, and they see me again, like, whoa, where's the rest of you? Like things like that. It's I could add value into other people's lives because I've actually done the work, and it's just kind of I'm just relaying the outcomes of that, whether it's through just people seeing what I've done or talking about it and things of that sort. So it's help improve areas of relationships with my friends and family. They all want to try to they've kind of looked in the mirror and figured like, they're not doing healthy stuff either. Um, you know, just certain vices I've quit altogether, and those chapters are closed. Like it's just I see no point in doing anything that will take me time to recover or put me down physically, uh, because this feeling is just too good. So just going back to the mindset thing for just a second too, it's just realizing these things has also helped me understand that like I have I'm in a very privileged position to be able to, do these types of things. I don't know, like a lot of people don't have to say they don't have the time or the time freedom that I have right now. But I realized like I have a kind of a duty to myself and to fill my cup and do these things and be healthy and be the best version of me so that I can take care of my friends, family, people in just my people, right? Um, and that has given me the sense of purpose that I felt was kind of dormant since COVID, because it helped me turn things from like me to what can I do for everybody else, right? And that's been honestly one of the best outcomes of this. I did not expect that to happen, but I'm so glad it did. So, you know, touched a lot of areas there, of course, I know. But if anybody feels that, their health is like not letting them like they're not feeling like going out to an event or going out to see friends and family because they feel like they don't look good. I understand. Like I've been through every one of those emotions. And those are kind of a snowball effect because they pile on, all the negativity piles on each other and you're just beating yourself up at the end of the day. So start small, in this case, get some help. Just get in the gym and I guarantee you it'll just give it an honest 3 to 6 months and it'll change your life.
Well said. You answered my next question regarding how your family and friends have responded. I know it's been very positive. Um, I don't know what the percentages are. I'm sure Mother Google would give us an answer, but most people between Thanksgiving and New Year's gain weight.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
You were around family for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then since we've been working together, you've had numerous trips, like a wedding or two. So there's been some social activities where, bottom line, you were not following the plan that I gave you to the letter because you couldn't. You were away from home.
Yeah.
But we put together a game plan with every event and like everyone that you got under your belt, and especially, like an event was on the weekend and we weighed the next Thursday and you still lost weight, even though, you weren't able to stick to your plan 100%. So share about that because you pulled off what most Americans don't. You lost significant weight over Thanksgiving and Christmas. And
Yeah,
again, most people gain weight and you crushed it. I don't know how much you lost in those 2 months, but I mean, it's 10, 15 pounds, something like that.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I think the 2 to 3 pound average kind of just held in those time frames. And it was just, working together with you to create a game plan, like a plan of attack on how to do this. So I'm not literally flying in blind, just landing in the new city and then, going back to my old ways. So that mitigation strategy was super helpful. So like one thing I did was I had a wedding that I went to in Charlotte, and I literally paid for the extra luggage and packed my blender, like all the protein, like all of that stuff I brought with me. And I just kept it in my hotel room, and I made the shake. So at least the all 5 meals weren't impacted. I still got in the majority of them. So it just came down to then just portion control and just making good decisions at the dinner that I was at for that wedding, which honestly wasn't really that hard. Um, and also because that wedding kind of came in about 3 months, I'm just using that as a particular example, but that came in about 3 months into the journey. I also didn't really have a desire or a craving for the other food that we would normally have like at a traditional wedding. Not to say that's not good, it's delicious, right? But I just didn't. didn't have any desire for it. So just doing something like that to, maybe it won't be the perfect day, but it would be, 60%, 70% okay. That helped a lot. And just keeping as consistent as I could. Uh, that's how I think that's how I did it.
So would you say that every time you went through one of those events and yet you still managed to weigh right after and continue to make progress, that built your belief over a period of time that I don't have to be afraid of social events?
Oh, 100%. And I'll share one more example. This is kind of going back to the friends and family that they saw what I was doing to be very, very disciplined. Um, and it was I think it was a few days before Christmas, we went to an event and coming back to the house, like I'm sorry, it was on, I believe on Christmas Day. So like there's no restaurant that's open, like nothing's really planned. The plans that we had fell through, and pizza was on the menu. That was literally all that was there. So instead of ordering the pizza, I just got a Caesar salad. That's all. That's what I ate. Like, and everybody else is enjoying. No judgment here. Do what you have to do. That's great. But people pulled me aside, like a couple days later, like, wow, like you have tremendous willpower. That's awesome to see. Like you were sticking to the plan, and they were more intrigued by what I was doing with the salad than what they were doing with the pizza. It was a very, very fascinating little paradox. But did it fuel my belief? Oh, 100%, 100%. Because I had to face some of these dragons, if you will, of public events, and where I have to be very, very aware of my decisions. And passing through those the way that I did, I realized like you could pretty much put me in any event and I will not deviate because I believe in this, right? The belief is so high, thanks to the evidence that I've seen.
So I share with people often that in a social setting where food is, or whatever, a social event
Yeah,
where food is involved, if you will make your focus on the event and in particular the people that you're meeting with, socializing with, if you can make that the focus and not the food,
right.
and then regardless of what the situation is, if you'll just make the best choice you can, both in portions and actual choice of food, that one meal, even if you did have two slices of pizza at that event, as what if they didn't have the salad, that still wouldn't have hurt you. But most people probably ate more than two slices of pizza.
True.
And so anyway, where do you see yourself in the future given what you've accomplished so far?
Yeah, and, future looks extremely bright. I will say, extremely bright. So I put this kind of, I had to put some type of date to like the ultimate goal, right? Because we still have much more work to do, uh, but July 4th, I would love to be at that weight goal with the progress we've made in the 6 months. I think it's possible. Who knows? We'll see. We'll try. So at least for 2025, halfway through the year, July 4th, I would love to be at that weight goal. Um,
So what is that goal for their sake?
oh, sure. I want to get back that down to 200 pounds. That's my goal.
Okay.
Uh, so at least for health wise, so that would be one. The other one I'm really looking forward to is continuing this cardio journey. So we didn't touch like too deeply on it, but I am doing that 3 days a week with the metabolic exam that we did. And what I understand by that kind of the science behind it, and then the real world application, like basically the zone 1 and 2 base is getting wider, and then the VO2 is peak is getting higher, so like a triangle. Um, and the real world application of that is, when I do enjoy like outdoors and hiking and things of that sort. And I just went to do that about 10 days ago, and I was not nearly I could go a lot longer than I ever have, and I wasn't gassed. Not to say it was like tremendously easy, but nonetheless, like I could do that. So like the real world application is that in our training, we can go a lot faster, a lot harder. So I can't wait to see what my cardio conditioning is around that same time. Um, because at the end of the year, I'm planning a trip to Maine to Olympia National Park, and I'm very much looking forward to doing some hiking out there. uh, and letting the conditioning of this kind of really just allow me to go explore and do what I want to do out there. So, um, health wise, I think those are the two big ones. Sleep and whatnot. Like we've shared a little bit like one on one, but uh, like I have hit like this very consistent sleep pattern that I just didn't. I just felt like as you get older, sleep just gets worse. That's not the case at all. Uh, I'm only awake like a few minutes every night. And before training together and before starting this journey, like I used to sleep for way too long and the quality was very bad. And I would be wearing that Apple Watch and it would tell me that I wake up, 45 minutes to an hour throughout the course of the night, just ruining my quality of sleep. But now it's like less than like 8 minutes a night. Like I'm just sound asleep. So I can't tell you how important that is. So health wise, I'm just those are kind of the two big ones. And then because of that, again with the mindset and everything else in other areas of life, I've set some very very optimistic goals for other areas, and I look very much forward to seeing how the course of this year goes.
So it's interesting that I've always, thin threads bring people into our lives, thin threads of circumstance. And I had one referral early last year from a coworker, and it was to watch, it's a TEDx, Dr. Matt Walker, PhD. He is arguably one of the foremost authorities on sleep on the planet. And that TEDx will shake you up. And it's
Mm,
only 19 minutes long, but it's Why We Sleep is the title. But I knew sleep was important. That really opened up my eyes to the importance of sleep. And now I preach to my clients all the time, based on everything that I've learned, how to make your sleep better. And so it's so gratifying to see the progress that you've made. But then the other was one of my other clients who gave me that book,
mm,
outlived by Dr. Peter Tia, cancer surgeon by training, longevity, arguably, again, one of the foremost authority on longevity. Now he's based in Austin with his family, but everything that he does today as a physician is geared around longevity. I, I mean, I knew that cardio was important, and I was aware of VO2 max kind of, but what I learned from him, the most dominant critical factor that is measurable in our bodies that will determine your potential for longevity is your VO2 max. The science backs it up. It's not even up for debate. I didn't know that. So I went from doing one day a week of cardio on average for 30 minutes. And I mean, I wasn't joking around, but I had no specific intent, to nearly, well, 3 days and nearly an hour a session a week. And I've seen the improvement in me, but I'm seeing the improvement in you and Wendy and many of my clients. We've done retests since I did their initial active metabolic assessment last, August, September. And everyone that I've retested, they've all improved. And
yeah,
so that is so rewarding because in some small way, I feel like I'm influencing y'all to have a better opportunity to live a longer life. And
yes,
that's pretty cool.
absolutely.
Um, so here's one. I don't recall we ever talked about this.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever consider any of the weight loss drugs that are on the market?
Oh no, I absolutely did. I wanted to stay as far away from them as possible. I don't know if it was just a kind of a aversion to, you know, drugs or pills or shots or whatever that goes Ozempic and stuff like that. I'm not saying that there's anything good or bad. I personally just had a lot of aversion to it. So uh, I think that may have, maybe subconsciously that also made me want to do this like very naturally and just try to hit a consistency point. But no, I didn't have any consideration for those.
So obviously, Muhammad's done this the old-fashioned way, and I'm not. I've actually learned a lot through studying Peter, um, and it's really opened up my eyes to the benefits of, and especially compared to the first products that hit the market to where they are today, like every new generation of like tirzepatide is a more recent, far and away better in terms of efficacy and less side effects. There are some, because I have a client that's on it. He
Mm,
is, and there are side effects. Um, but there are a lot of benefits that come with those products. So there, it's I'm not against them, but if a client, person is willing to try it naturally first, because and I had this conversation with a member a couple weeks ago, and he brought him up, but I said, look, you can take all the bariatric variation surgeries, you can take, any of these weight loss drugs and pile it all in one heap. There are no shortcuts to weight loss. There's no silver bullet. Bottom line, you have to change your behavior. And I've worked with clients that have had the various bariatric procedures who lost a ton of weight afterwards, basically through starvation. I mean, and then they gain the weight back.
right.
And then, I've seen a client in the gym where she's actually a former client, but she's not on tirzepatide, but it's one of whatever it is. And she made a little bit of progress, but she got stuck and she plateaued. She flat plateaued and she was not going forward. And the sad thing was, she wasn't eating, unless she was just lying to me. She wasn't eating that much every day. It's like, where do you reduce your calories any further? So I just take caution with, not you, but in general, take caution with those, and really I would highly recommend doing it the old fashioned, trying your best, because bottom line, you've got to change your behavior. It's not like you get a free ride and get to eat anything that you want. That's not how it works. So, what advice would you give anyone who's seeking to lose weight and or improve their overall fitness?
Yeah. I would say, um, if I'd say just try to get some help, in terms of a person physically there, like Kelly, or like a trainer or somebody at whatever facility you decide to go to. Just try that approach. Like if you're going from absolutely cold, like not in the gym whatsoever, uh, it's just, I know it's a little, it could be, there's a financial aspect to it, but if you can try to get some help along that journey, because it actually checks a lot of boxes. Aside from you actually having a fitness and a nutrition plan, you have somebody to hold you accountable to it. And if you're like me and you struggle with that piece, um, that's a big part of the machine, right? Like of actually being able to pull this off. If you can do that, that's awesome. If you desire not to do that, I would say try to just approach it from the perspective of getting some type of incremental improvement that you could track. You have to be able to track your progress. But if you can try it for 4 weeks and see how well you're doing, I I, I almost guarantee that you will just desire to keep that going until you get enough momentum built that you'll start naturally and organically like refusing old behaviors and old nutrition and old habits, and go from there. So it's more of a battle with yourself more than anything. And if you can understand that it's just you're just trying to improve who you were yesterday, I think a lot you're half the battle's already won. So those are probably be my two approaches. Get some help to get there maybe a little bit quicker. Uh, Otherwise, just try to track and measure your progress. Just give it 30 days. Just give it an honest 1 month try. Uh, and you'll see the improvements and you'll just want to keep going with it.
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just filled with gratefulness, gratitude, gratitude for you and everything that you've helped me accomplish so far. I think I kind of mentioned to you that, you know, a calm mind and, a healthy body is one of the few things that truly can't be bought. Like we could still do the training sessions. I just don't show up, right? Like that, it's still paid for, but I'm not actually doing the work, right? So you can, in a way, I look at those two things, in a house, a home and a family full of love. Like these are things you can purchase. They have to be earned. Um, and I kind of unlocking that in my mind has just shown me like I'm actually very, very, very grateful for all the things that I have and what I've been able to accomplish. And that just kind of has a self-fulfilling kind of loop back to what I mentioned earlier about my duty to myself and to others, and kind of living my life with that purpose. So uh yeah, if you told me 6 months ago that this is where I would be, not only physically, but also from a mental state, I wouldn't believe you, honestly. But lo and behold, here we are. So yeah, I mean, I would say ultimately like gratitude. I'm super grateful for everything, and I just can't wait to see what the rest of this year and beyond has in store.
Well, I'm proud of you. You've done very well.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you, my friend. I look forward to seeing you Wednesday morning bright and shiny.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you.